Alright, hello everybody, this is Magnetonics here, and I am here with another video. So, today I have gotten around to finally making some teams that have some codes that I would actually recommend to you guys, rather than some gimmicky stuff. It's kind of full of a lot of Tems that have good, consistent play styles. They're strong defensively, offensively, have good move sets, all the good stuff that you'd actually want in a team. And I am here to just kind of do some example matches of how I would play them. But also, I have the codes at the bottom of the screen that hopefully you guys can see. Here, I'll move it around there. You can definitely see it. They are right there. And you guys can try them out for yourself. For anyone who doesn't know how to download a team, you just go into your Showdown tab here. You click this little button at the bottom when you're hovering over a team. And then you import it. You just type it in here like G, whatever the code is for this. It wouldn't help because it would just overwrite it with the same exact one. But I'm hoping to get about 4 games in of each, but the queue times might be long. I did get a late stream here, and I can't stay around super long tonight, but I'm hoping to get everything done that I need to and just give you guys kind of a good display of how to play the teams, because trying to explain how these teams are played just with words isn't all that easy. Sometimes it's better to just show examples of it, and that's what I'm here for. So this team right here is the faster variation. So we've got Token. Marbles is a good item for it since it's got a good typing. This is kind of the moveset that I normally go for it. I believe it's enough HP to live a water cannon, enough stamina just so you can click a whole bunch, like at least 3-turn rotation of any order without OXing. 221, just because it's a good speed break point to hit that doesn't make you invest too many TVs. And the rest in special attack. You could swap this for Heater if you want to try and play around with that more, but Pyromaniac's just free damage. It's nice and easy. Next we have Platimus. I have Fake Beard on it because I think Sweatband's more important on Mix, but you could try swapping the items around because Sweatband's really good on Platimus. So, sorry, I actually meant to edit the spread a little. Nah, we'll go with 61 since that's the one I already have on stream. But you could invest a little bit more stamina in the Platimus, but he's got enough HP and defense to live a Turbine from like Turok or Tuvine, which are the most common wind Tems. And also it has higher special defense, so it can live Tornadoes. It's got speed to outspeed max speed Nesla and Chromion, so we can get an Aquatic Whirlwind or Toxin Shower or whatever off. And then just the rest in special attack. Determines the better trade almost always now. Volphy lost Sludge Gift since I last used it, but it's got Sandstorm and Dust Vortex, both so you can always have an Earth move up after the first turn, which is valuable. Team Elusive's kind of always the better trait. I'm not sure what the HP investment is. I think it's just a well-rounded spread. I did make some of these a little while ago. Volphy you mainly want on the board when you have type advantage, because it doesn't help you nearly as much without it. Hazrat is just a solid attacker. 240 speeds, mainly just speed creeping 230 bases. And then the HP is enough. I think it might have actually been Phil, because I think this is to live a Turbine or something as well. Max attack, just because Hazrat loves to do damage. And the stamina is for triple wastewater. Toxic Farewell is generally the better trait, but you could swap it up. Kazuma has like the best typing in the game. You may need to increase the stamina a little bit, but it just depends on if your opponent procs bait or not. Because if they do proc bait, then you're plenty good. With Receptive, you have 3 turns of Invigorized. But otherwise, it might feel a little bit bad. So that one's up to you. I usually play it at 61. 232 speed's just a good break point, and then you can increase speed with Turbo and lower your opponents with Tesla, which is good. This HP and defense investment is kind of just general amounts, but it does help you to live like a Crystal Plume from a Chimerian and pretty much any physical crystal move you'd want to. And then a little bit of special attack investment so you can't be ignored. And so your Tornado hits harder. Mix is kind of maybe a little bit of a surprising one, but it's really risen up in the ranks lately, and I think it's just valuable on a team as a mental to have. This just exerts so much pressure on teams like this, because your opponent has to be afraid of knocking you into Puppet Master, but also Mix's offensive typing is great, and the damage it can output's insane. It can't be ignored because it can scale with Refresh. But essentially, I put a whole bunch into defense because you can live a Crystal Plume or a Stone Ball with this much defense investment, and live on like very little HP, but you'll be in Puppet Master then. And if I put it in HP, you'd actually start living some of the attack, the breakpoints from your special defense. So this is a nice middle point. Max special attack with some amount of speed. You could invest more in speed, but times you'll click refresh and denigrate, and they can't even hit you without spread anyways. So I figure that this is just fine. This is my good old Psypat spread. I think this is the one I ran in Worlds and MSI. I've just been running it for a while. You could take some out of attack and put it in HP. You could try taking some out of speed now that Hedgen is less of a threat, but I think it's a good spot. You could even switch the trait. The trait it could definitely go either way. I prefer Shinobi Tactics just because it's free damage, but Amphibian is more mind games with your opponent, so that's definitely an option. The Schweinshorn for the item, so these two are effectively water moves. Psypat really doesn't have a good water move outside of them, unless you're running it on a freeze team, which this is not. And then Mooflank's the last member of the team. I have Hurry Wart. Once again, you could run the other trait. The other trait makes it so that you kind of have to, your opponent has to deal with Mooflank. But Hurry Wart's nice because you get Goring right away, Bestial Charge right away, and Held Anger up faster, which is just such high damage. This is just 232 breakpoint. Once again, very simple. It's just a good breakpoint to hit. All of these Tems are just kind of like good spots to hit. Hard hit, like lots of damage. It's kind of designed where you can just click buttons and hopefully have some success. It's more meant to be an introduction team rather than a high-level advanced team with a lot of working parts. It has a few things you can play around with, like turbo choreography for speed tiering, heat up for offensive scaling, Toxin Shower for just evasion shenanigans, and you can even play around Mix's trait a little bit more. But in general, it's just meant to be a lot of hard-hitting Tems that are a little bit on the faster side, and to just hopefully outdamage your opponent. I will go through the bulky team here as well. You can see Volfi and Tolkien are very similar. It's just the same exact spread on both. They're both just super strong on pretty much every team they are. Okay, I lied. The Volfi's a bit slower. This is just 200, so you can outspeed a Golzi with Plague, just in case you need a little bit to finish it off. Max HP just to be a little bit bulkier, and then special attack is still just enough to get the job done. I have Quicksand instead of Bush, because on a slower team, you're less likely to get Bushes off. And you have 3 wind partners here, so getting synergy is a lot easier, just to really cripple your opponent speed-wise. Turok, I have Gravel Bag, because I wanted bait and the other stamina items on other Tems. So Gravel Bag's always good as well. It's just you're going to have to be a bit more scared of Golzi with this one, because it can be easily diffused. But it's pretty simple. You get a 3-turn rotation. The HP and special defense investment is just a good bulk investment, and you reach 200, so you can outspeed Platimus with your Turbine, your 3-turn rotation with stamina, and then just the rest in attack, so you deal some damage. Chimerian's a pretty simple spread, just slightly speed crept. Could be down to 2. You don't need speed in this, but you never know what a Glass Blade might outspeed. Sharpening is really nice to work with, but if Chimerian is on a board that doesn't have fire types, it's threatening. Nesla, this is my signature slower Nesla build. It's got balanced bulk to take a few hits, and it basically turns Nesla into a bit of a bulkier Tem, but this speed breakpoint still allows it to outspeed Chromion using Neutral Prio with Aquatic Whirlwind, which is plenty important. Volarend, this is just kind of a bulkier set. I didn't put insane amount of thought into this because Volarend's fairly simple. Most of the time you're just using it because it has such a strong offensive type, or a strong defensive type, and it counters a lot of the top Tems in the meta. And so it itself is high ranked as well, but it has scaling with Beef Up and free defensive scaling with Nox Bomb. So it's just very valuable as a Tem. Just know that it's not going to do a whole lot of damage, or be fast for that matter. Mushuk, I debated on if I wanted Parry or Tireless, but because we have lots of wins for Turbo, I think it would be good just to have a Tireless and Turbo set. I will warn you, though, that there is not a combination of moves available right now that you can OX on maybe like H slap or something. But because there is a stamina bug in the game right now, you cannot OX turn 2 by natural means, which is a little bit crippling for Mashuk, but these teams are meant to kind of get through the entire 1.6, 1.6.1, 1.6.2. So I think that this spread will be good after that. Since Tireless now halves the damage by overexertion, HP is a very valuable stat. You could invest more speed and maybe even take some out of special defense, but this really gives Mashuk a lot of staying power on the board. So I think it's valuable to have. If you did change up the team a bit more, so you have more physical attackers instead of special, you could add Perfect Jab as a consideration as well. But, you know, we got 1, 2, 3 special attackers. Turok uses Soil Steam, which doesn't get affected by Perfect Jab, so I just figure it's better to have Uppercut, specifically for Volphy matchup. And then lastly, we have Sandby. Basically, I wanted a mental on this team because mentals I think are going to be really valuable this patch. And Sandby is really the most solid, like, bulky mental out there. So 200 speed, if you can't tell, I just love that breakpoint. It's a really good spot to hit just for any Tem with Prio that's on the bulkier side, because Golzy and Platimus are two faster threats that just really can punish you if they outspeed you. And so being able to outspeed them is nice, because you have Transient here. And also having speed when you have Hypnosis is always nice as well, because anything slower than you can put to sleep. But if you get to an end game, you can also Hypno and Strangle spam. Got Dozing Hit as well. So Sandby's got a few options to work with, but it also hits hard. Just don't click Matter Teleport too much because your stamina is limited. Now that was like the crash course of the teams. We're going to hop into some matches and hope that I can win a few, or at least give some good demonstrations of how to play the team. This stream is definitely going to be more geared towards kind of like learning and what you can get out of a team. Probably should just cut all the stuff in between, but that takes time that honestly I do not have right now. So please bear with me and feel free to skip ahead in whatever recording to just get to the matches. Not that I have to worry about that right now because we already found a match. And also, hello, Billy and Mads. I do see you. I am just trying to get through a lot of information in a short amount of time. That's a cute banner. I haven't seen that yet. So this team doesn't have any particular... This is the fast team. I'm going to try and go for like 3 or 4 games of each. So the fast team here, it doesn't have any particular type weaknesses. We're facing what looks like a slower, bulkier team. So just looking at it, one of the bigger things I don't want to deal with is probably Mashuk. Just because I only have 1 wind on the team. And Mix doesn't have a mental move until turn 2, and his turn 2 mental move is low prio. So when it gets Phantom Whiplash up, it can be very valuable. But until it does, it is a little bit on the weak side. Just going to post a message if anyone wants to watch the stream. Alright, so Mooflank got banned. He doesn't have any mentals, and Mooflank just dishes out a lot of damage, so it makes sense that he banned it. As far as a first pick, I'm probably going to grab Tolkien. Keen to see me with a fast team. It's not like it's super fast. It's more like just on the faster end of mid-range. It's not an all-or-nothing team by any means. I think all-or-nothing teams are a bit too risky. This is just meant to be more of a consistent, reliable team. Okay. He doesn't have any great counters to this. Calibus on the water side doesn't have a whole lot, and plus I can hit it on his wind weakness, so that's valuable for me. Tyrannac can't do anything to threaten out Tolkien, so I'm not afraid of it. I'm not sure what trait the Volorend is, though. Gazuma is a safe pick, especially if I turn around and ban the... I guess I did have double wind. I forgot about the Gazuma when I banned the Mashuk, but oh well. This is still fine. Wind and Toxic are like the two strongest types in the game, so you'll see a lot of them. You, I mean, I got 2 Toxics and 2 Winds on this team, so fair enough. And then I think I got like 3 Winds, or maybe even 4 on the other team. It's just kind of what it ends up with. Dominic, hello, welcome. I think when he picked Volorend, he was trying to scare off my Hazrat, which would have completely walled Tyrannak, but I'm not immediately afraid of Tyrannak. I know that Senpai runs Slingshot Tyrannak, so it would definitely hurt. The Sharp Leaf would. But I think I can still take a hit or two because I am physically invested in my Gazuma. Banned my Volphy. I have quite a few options against everything he's got. I'm going to ban the Calibus purely because I'm going to leave both of my Winds in to start. And chances are that Gazuma's going to take a lot of damage in the meantime, and so I'd have one less Wind to deal with Calibus later on. And I know that Calibus is extremely tanky and would probably take 4 or 5 hits to take down. And that's not something I want to spend time taking down, and I'd rather just get rid of in pick ban. Since there's no other major threats to me right now. Jamurian I have a second fire for. Turok I have Saipat for, and also Platamus. I'm going to bring Mix, because Mix is good against Garunder, and it's also good just to clean things up with the fast Crystal Spikes. And then I'm probably going to bring Hazrat. Hazrat's not good against Turok, but it can do pretty well against everything else on his team. Platamus would have almost only been good against Turok, so it was just kind of a question of which is more valuable. So I have Saipat. Now I've acknowledged Turok as a bit of a larger threat, and I have to keep Turok around to deal with it. Volorend on every team today, what's up with that? Possibly because I placed it high on my tier list that I did release like on Sunday. If anyone hasn't seen it, feel free to go check it out. It's another great resource for the patch. But, I mean, Volorend just counters so many top-tier Tems, it makes sense to see around a lot. Now, since I have Hazrat in the back, and I have Tolkien on the field, Tyrannak is not an immediate threat. I'm going to click Fiery Soul on the Volorend to, one, kind of lower the damage of when it attacks me. It swaps out anyways. But it's also so that it covers the Garunder swapping in, which was the most likely swap for him to eat the Tesla Prison with. Now, most Garunders run Thick Skin, so he would have resisted Wind. I guess it was Intimidator anyways. But if he would have resisted Wind, then Fire wouldn't have been resisted, so it would have been my best damage option. Here's what I'm saying with the Slingshot. It doesn't do too much. It's like a 3-hit KO, so I didn't have to be too scared of it. He did prevent my Receptive, though, which does hurt me a little bit. I'm going to swap in the Hazrat, save the Tolkien. Gazuma would also be nice, but I think I'm going to keep it in here because it's not immediately threatened by Garunder, but Garunder has Defibrillate. I don't need a Turbo because I'm already faster. And we'll just throw a Tornado because, once again, the Thick Skin is canceled out by Intimidator. Unless he swaps. He does swap, so he will take half damage, but it's still my strongest offensive move that I could click. He had a good swap there into Turok because he probably predicted me to swap into Hazrat. And of course, giving him his Thick Skin back allowed him to take that much better. Now, I'm actually going to take a bit more of a risk. I don't think I need Hazrat a whole lot, kind of loses against Volorend, loses against Turok. I guess the bigger problem is now his Turok, because it got beefed up, will be able to one-shot my Mix and also my Hazrat. Because if he decides to Turbine right now, he will definitely kill Hazrat, which is actually really bad. I think I'm still going to risk staying in and hope he does something like Rockfall. And I'm going to Electric Storm just for some solid damage on the Turok and hopefully have enough damage to finish off the Turok, or the Vigorender. Yep, that should definitely finish off. So I'm not sure what he clicked on Turok here, but I'm sure it's going to really hurt this turn. Okay, my Hazrat gets knocked out. It's unfortunate. Was that rat heated up? No, it was not. So now we got Saipat, which is my best option to deal with Turok. But he could bring in just about anything and threaten me pretty bad. There's Tyrannak. Now that... Now that Hazrat's gone, Tyrannak doesn't have any extreme counters. I have to predict that he's going to swap Turok for Volorend, because to eat the water move that would have been coming its way, and swap back to Tolkien. So that was good. I get to hit the Volorend with something. It probably won't do a whole lot of damage, but we take what we can get. Marble's doing... Yeah, that didn't do anything. That's a very bulky Volorend. Oh, it's got Lightning Rod. That's tough to deal with. Oh, he actually went for the Gazuma, and it does take it out. Good play by him. Otherwise, I would have gotten an Electric Storm off, which would have dealt some more damage to the Volorend, which would have been valuable for me. So he's got me in a pretty rough spot here. Chances are I'm not going to win this one, unfortunately. I can try and take out the Volorend here, but we saw how bulky it was on the special side with how well it took that. Has the prison, but maybe this will kill. Oh, barely. Alright, Pyromaniac. What is the closest to Pokemon / Smogon hyper offense you can think of? I feel like Digiaggro could be it. I was hoping I might hang on there. It would have been really good if I could. But I couldn't afford anything else, unfortunately. As far as what's the closest to hyper offense, it would definitely be Digiaggro, because Digiaggro is an all or nothing playstyle. I'm confident I can live one Sharp Leaf on Saipat. I'm going to click Tornado on the Turok because I think there's a good chance he's baiting me and then he's going to swap to Molgu here, and I'd have to kill the Molgu. Nope. So I kind of wish I saved Tornado now, but oh well. Oh, okay. So he has more than 200 speed on his Turok because he outsped the Saipat. Now that's unusual and very unfortunate for me. Because if Saipat lived the turn, I would have been able to get a Schween's Horn off, or a Nox Bomb off on Molgu, and then a late game versus Tolkien and Tyrannak, I would be able to win every time, because Tyrannak never kills Tolkien. That's Outgrowth, and it just did 50 damage. So it would take him 6 of his strongest attack. Well, he's got Meteorite, I guess, but it would take him 6 attacks. So just his little bit of extra speed on that Turok is going to unfortunately leave me with a loss. But GG. He's playing a bunch of very strong, bulky Tems. And that beef up on the Turok really threw me for a loop. Fast Turok, best Turok. I like mine at 200 speed, just so you can get a turbine off on a Platymus before Aqua Bullet. Anything faster than that feels like it doesn't get a whole lot of value, and having your Turok die faster is very risky. He also had a lot of spread options, so Mix couldn't do as much threatening as it wanted to. Have yours 231 always. 231 over 232 seems a bit strange. You're going to get speed crept by a whole bunch of stuff. Go to him, kind of makes sense to go over Saipat too. I don't know, I never really run max Saipat, or... I hardly ever see Saipat. I see it like once out of 20-some games now. And if you're going over Saipat, why not go over Mudrid? If you're going over Mudrid, why not go over Oshiara? If you're going over Oshiara, why not go over the Amphitheater? It's just... it never ends. 231s for Oshi... no, 221s for Oshiara and Ukama. 231 is one below Amphitheater. But the difference between 200 and 230 is 150 TVs, which you could have somewhere else, and that's plenty of TVs that can definitely flip a game one way or the other. That's the one that's effective against Turok. Fair enough. So it's definitely an option to do that. Keep almost defaulting back to the team I've been playing lately. Alright, so now we got Ringy with a freeze team. I have a few options here. Hazrat. So that's a little bit strange considering he's got so many water types and I still got Platymus around. I want Platymus no matter what. So even if he picks Inky here, I can still swap out Platymus turn 1 and I think that's going to be valuable for me. And I am going to pick Mix here. Because Mix has the potential to kill Inky unless it's got Bulk Invest or Double Screen. But in case it does live, I am going to swap out the Platymus because it's just so valuable against these other waters. Gazma would have been the next one I wanted, so that is a little unfortunate. I'm going to ban Whiplump now, just because Whiplump has access to Prio with Tornado, it has Freeze with Mimit, and now his Freeze options are extremely limited. Basically just... well, he doesn't have any anymore. So I'm going to pick Saipat just because it's able to resist and hit back, which is valuable. And then I'm also going to pick Volphy and Mooflank. That's because Tolkien into triple water isn't valuable. And even though it would be kind of nice to have something that resists Tyrannac, I should have enough things to just break through it without much issue. I mean, he'll probably predict me to swap out the Platamus and then double in on my mix. And Intimidated, we know it's Intimidated because my fake beard worked. An Intimidated Specmaster Inky probably won't even do half, and then an Embers can finish me off, which would be unfortunate. Wolfie doesn't actually have type advantage against anything, so it's fine to bring in here. We could see Mastion on a swap, but if it's a swap, then I'm hoping that Mix lives whatever Tyrannac's got. He actually swaps Tyrannac though. So you want a double Inky. So that's a little interesting, because Wolfie is on the board now. He has enough bulk to live that. Not surprising. And he did just go for the green circle of Thunderstrike onto the Platamus. I guess he wanted the Tyrannac out because of that. I'm going to click Sandstorm here because Dust Vortex would absolutely kill any Inky. But this also covers for if he decides to swap his right Inky. We're just going to click Crystal Spikes again. Even if he swaps to Mastion, we'll get the Sandstorm damage on it, and we have Phantom Whiplash up then next turn as well. Since I'm faster than his Quartz Dirts, he is not able to double Quartz Dirt and kill me that way. Yeah, I mean, this is a good example of the games where Mix can just pop off. He does have Tyrannac, but that's all he's got, and Tyrannac needs a hold off before it can do anything. You would refresh, it's free. That definitely would have been an option as well, to just plague the low health Inky, and because my Wolfie would outspeed this Inky, and then just to get the refresh off. But I don't know if a DC Beam plus a Quartz Dirt would kill. So, I mean, there's a few different ways you could take this turn. I'm in a really good position. I'm not even sure if he's got a way out of it. He kind of has to swap Tyrannac into the Inky slot, I think. No, he's just going to take it. So he must use Bright Beam on the Mimit then. Nope, he goes for the Quartz Dirt, hoping it would kill. See, yes, a DC Beam plus a Quartz Dirt would have killed. And I'm a little surprised to see him not go for it. Streamers in Diamond. After my last loss, I dropped 2 gold. So I played a few games off stream and I lost like 3 of them in a row. It's kind of rough. I haven't found a good team for this patch like that fits my playstyle yet. These teams aren't exactly my playstyle. They're just solid teams all around. Now, Mastion and Tyrannac lose pretty bad to Platamus. So the biggest thing in my way is his Platamus. So I'm going to just go for a Plague on that, and then the Phantom Whiplash, because it's just my highest damaging option. Drop the Platamus in, so we can smack him with a... Yes, I'm aware that Mix is dying, but that's fine, because the thing I really wanted was just to kill Platamus, and now it is trapped in. And so it cannot swap. So I will be able to finish it next turn, and then Tyrannac has a Rotten Goo headed straight for it. And then I will have the hold off on Toxin Shower next turn to hit both the Mastion and the Tyrannac. So I'll be in a really good position there. Also, even low prio, I would have been able to outspeed the Tyrannac and block out its Sharp Leaf, so he would have had no way to kill me. So that was a good quick one. GG there. Back promoted. That is great. I don't care about my rank much. I guess we did something on the Tamer Pass. You're right. Yeah, so that's kind of the risk of using a team like that, where if he didn't, he had like 2 or 3 required bans, and I still had more things that beat him. He just type stacked a little bit too much. And then also, not having enough spread moves to deal with mix is just so tough. Because he didn't pick Oshio. I guess he had Intimidator, but had I just swapped and waited out the Intimidator turns, because I had enough health worth of Tems in the back, then it wouldn't have been hard for me to bring Mix in later and just sweep late game, if that was what I chose to do. We're doing alright on time, so I'll probably try and do 4 matches with each team, as long as we keep finding matches here. Okay, so there's a lot of Digis here. Not something I normally want to see. So Digis are kind of like the one team archetype that can typically outspeed and outdamage this one that we're running right now. Gonna ban Acronox because that frees up Mix a little bit, and then also Saipat as well. Okay. He banned my Earth because Zalbian doesn't have any moves that can really hit Earths or Crystals for that matter. But dual types he can hit, so it's a little bit surprising. Mix is still super valuable here. This is a bit of a tough position. I'm actually going to pick Mouflank here. Is that the best play? Honestly, I'm not quite sure. But what's going to happen turn 1 is the Zalbian is going to click Electro Punch, probably on Mix, which, because I have so much physical bulk investment, I don't think I'm going to get taken out by it. Or I don't think it'll drop me into Puppet Master. And then he'll follow up with a Sinner type or Harmful Microwaves, and that will finish me off, which is going to be really, really bad. So my best option to deal with that, like I could have picked Gazuma, but I'll have both Gazuma and Saipat in the back here. Venom Spread with Wastewater too. I think the speed tiering is going to be really scuffed on that. I wouldn't expect that. But at the same time, I want to swap out Mix. But there is a decent chance that he decides to double in the Mouflank instead, because I'm pretty sure he could take that out as well. Because the Mouflank is it's pretty frail on the special side, and we don't have that much bulk investment on it. Got marbles on the Chromion, also just punishing me for swapping, which is exactly what I want to do here. I want to swap to Hazrat, but then next time Mix comes in, it's going to be hurting. I'm going to still bring in the Hazrat. Hazrat doesn't have a whole lot of use. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm... Mix is so valuable, but there's just no good time for it. Honestly, I need something to die so I can bring in Gazuma safely. It's kind of what has to happen here. I think it's just going to be Hazrat. It sucks that he's got camo on this Albion. Because what camo means is that I won't be able to poison it with Toxic Farewell if/when Hazrat dies. Please double in the Mix. Yes. There's a chance that Hazrat lives this too. I don't really want it to, but it could. He actually split attacks, so he must have just been very confident in Binary Flood on his Chromion being able to outspeed. Now, Chromion is the biggest problem for me right now. Mouflank gets taken out here, and I think that is exactly over half. Not exactly, it would have been 334. So I do go down on Hazrat, which is no, nope. Brain and math not getting along. Teto, I think it's Tetsu Go something. He used to be around a lot, but hasn't been as much lately. Now, you may be wondering, why are you bringing in Saipat? I need something fast that can take out Chromion, and I know that I'm pretty confident I can live an attack from Zalbian. If it wasn't for the... If it wasn't for that Marbles, I'd be 100% certain. He does swap out the Chromion because it is fast and he can bring it in later. Grunder is just a nice and easy option to eat the Venomous Claws for him. Still good damage, even resisted, though. Can't quite take out the Zalbian, which is unfortunate for me. Yep, so I am able to live just fine. It's actually a Schweinshorn Garunder, which is not what you see every day. I'm going to go for a Venomous Claws on the Zalbian, and then I'm going to swap in Mix. I want to keep Saipat alive. It still is valuable. And then this is an okay time to get some value out of Mix as well. Well, it would have been. Fastest Garunder known to man. I was wondering why it took so much damage. Zalbian will go down here for taking out the Hazrat, which is an okay trade in my opinion. So we see Gazuma come in here. Bring in my own Gazuma. I'm not sure what his plan is here. So he goes for DC Beam and probably Paizo as well. I think I can live a non-synergy Paizo. No, he's going for Venomous Claws again. See, that's very strange, because now I'm in Puppet Master, and that's exactly where I want to be. Garunder shouldn't have any spread options. That's why I was targeting down Gazuma, because Gazuma does have a spread option. Chromion also has a spread option with Binary Flood. But he didn't bring it in, and I would have outsped it anyways. We're just going to use Tornado on the Koish here. I don't think Koish has a spread option either, did you, Koish? It used to have auto-destruction, but it doesn't anymore. We're just going to click Phantom Whiplash since it hits all the same. And we can save a little bit of stamina that way. Speed Arrow was in my favor. It must have been tied with the Garunder. Koish goes down. Yeah, so I mean, this is a good example of just trying to double down a slot and try and kill them before they can even get a move off. Using your speed to your advantage. That's what you really want to do here. We'll go for a Tesla Prison. I'm just going to go for a Crystal Spikes. Probably should have done that on the Garunder just in case, because there is a chance that Gazuma goes down here. But then Garunder is up against Mix and Saipat, which it shouldn't be able to deal with. Because a Nicho plus a Crystal Spikes, I'd imagine, would take Garunder down fairly easily. He does have Center Typer here, though. Toxic Chromion Garunder combo's pretty good in that way. I'd imagine this takes me down to about 82 health. Chromion goes down. Does he go for Venomous Claws here? Nope, so I get to Tesla Prison off. He just goes for Nox Bomb. Now, unfortunately, Mix is going to OX for clicking Crystal Spikes this turn. But I am confident that a Nicho plus a Crystal Spikes will be able to take it out. And if I'm wrong, then that kind of sucks, but... yeah, we already had it spoiled that it was a Speedy Garunder. But I was basing my knowledge off of how much damage it took from the Venomous Claws anyways. Because if you want to do a whole bunch of math in your head really quick, you can figure out something like Venomous Claws did 15%, and that's 51 base power with half damage. Then you can effectively use a 110 base power move to get double the amount of damage. But then also it's not resisted, so it's doubled again, so it's 4 times, so you can assume that you'll basically do 60% with Nicho alone. Did you like that? GG's there, though. Only knew because it was a Speedy Garunder. Stop cheating. No, no. As soon as I'm not sure why he split attacks turn 1. I think that's when things really started going wrong for him. The first turn. I think he had a decent lead on me, for sure. But since he had a fast team, but because he didn't double down a slot, he wasn't able to kill me before I was able to really punish him and do the same thing back. Plus having something like Garunder, even at max speed, Garunder only hits like 243, I want to say, which isn't very fast, even with Prio. And then he had Schween's Horn as well, which lowered his damage output because he didn't have Stab. Might I get a Luma Valiar this stream? I don't know. Probably not. I'm hoping we just keep getting quick matches, and I'm just going to do 8 matches, 4 of each team, just as kind of an example. And then I'm probably going to call it, because I just got some new responsibilities assigned to me at work that I'm going to begin tomorrow, so it's going to be kind of a rough day. I mean, it should be good. It's good to learn some more stuff, but... you know, new stuff can also be tough. Let's see, what else can I talk about? I guess one of the things I didn't mention that I should have is, why is there no Tataru on these teams? Tataru is something that's like top tier right now. I put it in S. Well, the whole plan was that I'm assuming Tataru is going to get hit relatively soon. I don't know if it's going to get hit in the bug fix patch or the actual balance patch. Assuming we have 2 separate ones instead of just one combined one. But Tataru is not going to reign for very long. And while you could easily throw a Tataru on these teams, I just didn't. But I also did make a team I posted in squad sharing. It's not as well refined as these, not that these are perfect at all, but it does have Tataru on it. I think I ended up putting like max speed, max attack, just because you can get value with it that way, but you could definitely have a different spread as well. That would be good. And I mean, these teams do have room for iteration as well. It's just a good baseline with strong stuff all around. So maybe if you're a big fan of a different fire type, then you could be like, oh, I'm going to swap out Tolkien or Hazrat for this one that I really like instead. And that would be perfectly fine. Hulu, hello, welcome. Easy team, something for you. It's just a whole bunch of top tiers together. Some for new players to click green circles with. I'm going to get a rematch against Senpai. Isn't Tatter really strong? Oh, Frenchie, hello, Aches as well. Welcome, both of you. All right, we're gonna try banning Tyrannac this time to enable Mix a little bit more, and maybe he'll ban Mix. But if I could get Mix when both Turok and Tyrannac are banned, then that would be great. And because I have blue side, I can pick something else first and then pick Mix in the second slot and potentially be in a really good spot. Unless the lead is Mashuk and Mulgu, then Mix is not the play. The advanced Tolkien anyways, so that's definitely good to get out of the way. However, it does give him a little bit of an advantage in using Mashuk. So we're going to bring Gazuma here, because I kind of want one of my wins against Mashuk. Yep, there's that. And then also it would have been good if he decided to bring Volarend here. Save queues, but Apex updates out today. Oh, I've heard people talking about it. Battle Royales aren't really my thing, but I'm glad that there's something new and fun for everyone else. Changing your Digi team has been a bit tricky because Tatter being basically forced, you don't feel if you flex spots available for what you want. Tatter also fits really well on Digi teams just because Digi teams destroy mentals, which are the main counters people bring for Tatter. D Honey, hello, welcome. You left Senpai's banner. Yeah, I haven't seen it before. It looks new. It looks good too. I like it. I don't know if this Volarend has Toxic Plume or not. I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't. Actually, did he use it on me in the last match? I'm trying to remember. I don't think that was him. I think that was somebody else who used a Volarend with Toxic Plume. But Overwatch 2 screwing up hitboxes? I heard something about Overwatch 2. I thought it was good news, though, not bad news. That's another one. I mean, I actually bought Overwatch, at least the original one, and tried playing it with friends. We're going to ban the Turok this time, because it caused me a lot of issues last time, and also, like I said, it frees up Mix, because his spread options are extremely limited. I just realized he has 4 Toxics on his team, too. I'm going to go Saipat. Saipat's still relatively valuable, especially if and slash after I take out Mashuk. Tsunami Calibus wouldn't be the first time I've seen it. We're going to bring Hazrat and Volfi here. Because, like I said, Calibus will kind of be a problem, just because it's tanky and it'll survive forever. But between Hazrat and Platimus, Hazrat has heat up, so it'll be able to punish it a bit more with some wastewaters after raising its attack. Hopefully. If it gets to that situation anyways. So Nutbar Mashuk. I'm not sure how much damage I'm going to take on this initial turn here. I'm hoping that Crystal Spikes, Tornado, Crystal Spikes can take out the Mashuk, but it may have significant HP and special defensive vest. I am not sure. But I think that's still a relatively good combo for me to go for anyways. I don't think I'm immediately threatened by the Mashuk Volarend board on my mix spot, because I do have that defense invest. Alright, so that did a good chunk of damage, but nothing crazy. And that just does nothing. That's just crazy to me. I know I don't have that much special or attack invest on Gazuma, but still. Perfect job. Feather Gatling. So I would actually die to another, or to a Feather Gatling plus anything else. So. But I should be alright. At least this turn. Unless he does have Uppercut and Toxic Plume, which I don't know yet. I think I'm going to risk it, though. This may kill anyways, or he just swaps, so we're alright. Brings in the Calibus. Getting 2 special hits on Calibus is super nice, especially one of them being Tornado. Yeah, that makes Calibus much less of a threat. And now Mix has Phantom Whiplash up to deal with Mashuk later. Now, I would not be surprised at all to see this Volorend click Toxic Plume. I am going to swap because I am very scared of it. Although I don't know what I want to swap into. I think it's just going to be Saipat. The only thing Saipat's really going to do for me would be help against Mulgu. But if I can get some value out of it here, that's good enough for me. Yeah, Mucus giving that Calibus a pseudo resist to electric, or at least giving it some extra value against it. There's the Toxic Plume, so glad I avoided that. Wish I would have procced my bait earlier, but can't have everything go my way. And it was a flood, not a tsunami. The other spread water move. I accidentally changed the trait to amphibian. It's actually supposed to be Shinobi Tactics. At least that's the one in the code, so I apologize. But what should have been debilitating for me ended up being relatively valuable. I was predicting him to swap Volorend, so that's why I went for the Calibus. Saipat will go down now, which is unfortunate, but had to happen. For what it's worth, the amphibian didn't end up mattering because I did that. It would have mattered if I attacked the Volorend. I think it would have killed. So let's just go with this. Should be amphibian. And I mentioned that when I was talking about the team. Shinobi Tactics is free value, so which is hard to pass up in its own right. And it's just easier to play. If you're a new player trying to pivot into water attacks specifically, isn't going to be something that sees a lot of success all the time. We're going to double into the left slot. Now that the fire resist being Calibus is gone, he doesn't have a whole lot to eat hits from Hazrat. I'm hoping that even -2 that I can outspeed the -1 Volorend with my Electric Storm to finish off before I die to the Feather Gatling. But even if I can just take out this Volorend in general, that will be great as I can start making progress with Mix, but he keeps it alive. So there's a Mashuk getting value. Nox Bomb on the Gazuma? Interesting. He's just sick and tired of the thing. So I am going to just Tornado the Mashuk, and I'm actually really hoping that he takes out the Gazuma this turn. I'm going to heat up on Hazrat. Caged. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Because I know I can take out Mashuk here, and because Garunder's options against Hazrat are very limited, it was a good turn to heat up, I think, as long as he kills Gazuma. If he ends up not killing Gazuma, then I am stuck with Gazuma trapped on the board and can't do anything. But because it did die there, that was really good for me. And now I can bring in Mix to finally get the value that I wanted out of it this whole time. Alright, he is trapped on Go Runder, so I am able to just Lava Wave it for free. I did double because I don't think a Lava Wave kills. Go Runder is very bulky. And just making sure that I can knock the Go Runder out is important. Because now Mulgu has to come on, or Volorant has to come on the field, and I can take it out, because that's the only thing preventing Mix from probably finishing off this game. And because of that -1 speed we got earlier, there's absolutely no way it will outspeed me. I will just Crystal Spikes just to ensure that the full run goes down. I don't know how bulky it is, but if this thing lived, Mix would go down and I would be in a rough spot. So this is just kind of insurance, playing it safe, making sure not to throw my lead. Where's Clay Volgar under now? Gone. Reduced to ashes. Alright. Oh, Hazrat barely goes down there. I am able to get the Toxic Farewell damage on it, which gives me a little bit of space, and I still have Wolfie alive to take hits. I don't know if this is a Sentinel or Splitter Mulgu, so it may actually get a boost from the Plague. It does, but that's okay because I should be able to just take the thing out in one more Crystal Spikes. Yes. So this time it went a lot better. We definitely got a lot of value out of Mix. The whole goal with Mix is actually to get it in a position where your opponent doesn't have any spread options, and then as long as you have health left to take hits, you can actually just kind of sweep an endgame. We didn't really find a time to click refresh because there were just so many times we needed to do damage. But in the turn when I was assuring damage on the Volar end, you could have played a bit riskier and gone for the refresh that turn instead of Crystal Spiking, if you were confident that you would kill. That would have been another option. But all right, so we're going to switch it up, and we are going to go with the bulky team now. So we'll hopefully do 4 matches with that as well. And I talked about it earlier, so towards the start of the video when I was just explaining the teams, I decided to do both at once. But I mean, I have a couple like speed control options on the slower team, where I've got Quicksand on Volfie. I have Turbo on Mashuk, but that's kind of it as far as speed control. And then, like I said, it's just be careful if you're going to use Turbo on the Nesla that it does have Chamomile, so if you do swap it back in after you've used Turbo on it, it will lose the speed buffs. Yeah, I mean, I say it's a bulky team, but it's not like extreme bulky offense. Because I feel like bulky offense has struggled for a little while. I could call it mid-range instead. But I mean, both of them are just variations of mid-range. It's just... It's not... Yeah, it's just more like a team that's balanced. Just with different circles to click, you know? It's all click green circles, basically. They're just designed to be simple to play teams. And just to get the general idea across. Everything is mid-range, practically, yeah. Yeah, Q's might slow down, should be a bit unfortunate. No, we're still on track. Alright, there we go, there we go. Still almost picking that team on the right every time. Time constructs. Okay. So this team has a bit of an electric and a melee weakness. However, there's no electrics or melees on this team. He's got a Chimerian. He's got 3 things that kind of get walled by fire, so I'm assuming the Tolkien's going to be his ban. With that in mind, I think I'm going to... It's actually a little bit tough. There's a lot of options here. He could go the Shween Tatter if he bans the Sandby. We're gonna play it safe. We're just gonna take out the Tattoo. I don't feel like dealing with Resilient right now. And I think we have decent options for most everything. I'm a little surprised to see the Valoran ban. He didn't have anything that gets particularly countered by it. He's got, I guess, these 2 down here, but that's just not all that bad. I'm going to pick Tolkien just because I was planning on bringing it anyways, because it does have... It completely walls the Riken and Tyrannak, and then it also just kills Chimerian as well as walling it. He could go for Zyzare and try and get some speedier stone balls off with the Sidora. But most of this team, even though I say bulky, it's still around 200 speed. So I would be able to outspeed a base speed stone ball under the Sidora from Zyzare. But he decides to go with the Tyrannak instead, probably canceling out his own trait, which is kind of strange. He must be baiting out my Nesla. That's the only thing I can think of. But we'll play that game. Yeah, it's my Mashuk now. Mashuk is my secondary counter to Chimerian. So I'm looking at the Chimerian. It's probably going to be my ban. Because if Tolkien goes down from one mistake or another, then Chimerian becomes a lot harder to deal with without a melee as a backup. Turok's valuable. It walls Volorend, Riken, and Zyzare. This one, since it's... Oh no, this is still a Soil Steam Turok. You could do Stone Ball if you have your stamina items open, but on this team I was using all of them. And then I could have actually punished him a little bit for using Decidor. Because he has the Riken, I do want to avoid picking Chimeri in this game. So we'll pick the other 2 instead. It's also okay because he did pick Shween, but Volfi counters Shween even though Shween counters Sambi. Both of us getting some marbles value, so it kind of balances out. The question here is, does he stay or does he swap? Because he doesn't have anything to resist a Thunder Strike, because he didn't pick the Zyzare. But Nesla doesn't want to eat a Sharp Leaf. A Sharp Leaf plus a Beta Burst would probably take it out, which isn't something I want to deal with. Question is, what does he swap into? It's probably going to be the Shween or the Riken, more likely the Shween. And if he takes out my Nesla, do I have something that can deal with Nagais? Because Sambi can beat it down over a couple hits, which is good. Alright, we're going to Wind Burst the Tyrannak and then Thunder Strike the Nagais. It's probably going to be Shween here. Yep. And so the reason why I'm wind bursting the Tyrannac is because he's getting the hold off of Quartz Shield, and I'm expecting him to use it on the Tyrannac if he can. So being able to get some chip damage on the Tyrannac is nice. Now I do wish I would have doubled in on the Tyrannac, so I would have some kill potential on it next turn, but that's not the case. It does have the slingshot on Tyrannac. Definitely its most common item nowadays. But I am a bulkier Nestle, so I can take it. I want to say I can still take a beta burst, but it's kind of risky. He could also swap into Volarend in the Tyrannac slot. Just to get the Water Cannon synergy, which if you wanted to just get some damage on my Tolkien, because as I mentioned earlier, Tolkien is relatively strong against his team. But he still has Nagase in the back to deal with it, so I would be a little surprised to see that. I'm going to play risky though, and I'm going to keep the Nestle in. I think he's going to do something like swap. Nope. So even, yeah, I'm not getting good calls this game, but that happens sometimes. There's the Quartz Shield, so I am kind of glad I got some damage off, but I probably should have just Aquatic Whirlwinded the Tyrannac, so I wouldn't have had to deal with it at +2. But getting the chip damage on Shween is nice in its own right. And he still went for the Sharp Leaf. That seems a little risky, but I guess I don't have anything in particular to swap into, so it makes enough sense. Going to bring in Volphy now, just to take out the Shween with Plague, because I can outspeed, and Fire Tornado will be enough to take out Tyrannac. So in the end, it will be a 2-for-1 trade, which is in my favor. He could swap in Raikin for Shween, but then I have Dust Vortex up, and I can hit it with that next turn, and he doesn't have any immediate threat to Volphy. He could swap in Volarend, because I can't actually hit Volarend with anything. But all that does is really buy him a turn, because as long as I'm able to take out Tyrannac with the Fire Nado here, she actually swaps in the Geist. With the Marbles chip plus the Fire Nado damage, I believe that a Plague would take out Nagase. But it may not, because Nagase does have respectable special defense. But a 60% I want to say it would. No, Sambi's going to be my best swap here. But if he swaps Nagase back out, which it looks like he stayed in, we went for Hypno. That was a good play. Went for Vigas though. Still does good damage to my Sambi, so it's not something I wanted to get hit by, but I didn't have anything to really prevent it either. I doubt he's going to wake up Volphy, but in case he does. He's playing his type chart very well, not leaving any openings for me. Which makes this a lot harder. The Tornado took all that thing's stamina, but that is a lot of damage that I did not want to take. Now that he has Fury up on the Geist, it becomes a lot more threatening to deal with. I think I have to save Sanby. And we'll just bring in Turok. I'm going to Sandstorm, because that'll finish off Shween, and then do some chip damage to Volarend. He'll probably use Windburst to try and finish off the Sanby, which will lower, well, it won't actually lower his special defense, but it'll just be some chip damage. He'll have to start dealing damage to Volphy at some point. He should OX on Hyperkinetic here, which will kind of make him a dead slot next turn. So that'll give me a little bit of room to work as well. Yeah. He does Water Cannon onto the Volphy, which is exactly what he wanted to do. I could have Plagued to avoid that, and I probably should have, because 10% ship on Volaran I doubt is going to make a difference, but it may be what just puts it in Feather Gatling range or not. So, could have gone either way there. Depends on what he wants to bring in now. He doesn't have any great options. Nagais still probably dies, and I don't even think this Turok... That's a little strange. This is exactly what I want on this board. He could just be baiting me, and he's going to swap to Tyrannak now, hoping I don't target his Volarend and kill it, while he just takes the hit and gets the holds off on Volarend to hit me with a Tornado in the Volphy slot next turn. But if he does leave Nagais in here, then Turok and Tolkien can definitely just finish out this game. Swaps the Volarend. I don't know if I think his Volarend's faster than his Nagais. He does keep the Nagais in, so I gotta hope that Turok can live this. Nagas is the only way to beat Turok. I mean, he has Sharp Leaf on the Tyrannak, but yeah, I suppose you're correct. So now Nagais is down, and Tolkien is in a great spot to clean up the rest of this game. Volarend is the only thing standing in the way of it, and so I'll just have to focus it down when I get the chance. He doesn't have any synergy for Quetzal on Raikin, so I can Turbine, and then probably just Sandstorm, just to guarantee the kill. I could hope that Sandstorm kills Raikin on its own, but I don't have a whole lot of special attack in the Volphy, so I can't gamble on that alone. It's now kind of just a free Dust Vortex on the Raikin. I guess he could double in on the Volphy, and that might be his plan. Same thing with the mouse. I do a lot of little goofy mouse things just while I'm waiting. I don't even realize I'm doing it half the time. In Pickban, I usually like trace the outline of the little pictures. Because Tyrannak can still take one more hit at that health with those buffs. It is a Tornado onto the Volphy. So I definitely should have gone for the Raikin with Turok instead of using Turbine. But I should still be alright. And there's a good chance that my Volphy will still outspeed his Raikin as well. Most people don't invest very much or any speed on their Raikin. Nope, he does kill me here. He does outspeed and kill. So that is definitely a little bad. I'm not sure how much speed he has on the Raikin, but it is an amount. Get a little bit of Marbles chip on the Tyrannak. I'm going to completely ignore it for now because right now all of my energy needs to go into killing this Raikin. I could Tornado it, but I'm going to Windburst it this turn. And then Tornado it next turn and hope I outspeed with Prio. Even if he gets +2 and then is able to get a Quetzal off, or even a Held Anger, I believe my Tolkien can survive. It may just depend on... Yep, that's on the Turok. Barely takes it down. He is running low on stamina. Windburst puts it in range of Tornado for sure. Outgrowth, that's just fine. It does lower my stamina a little bit, but that's all it does. I'm sure he's just playing for a late game situation. Now I Tornado the Raikin. Hope I outspeed. I may not. Even if I don't, I should be in just a fine position. I don't think I die to a Held Anger. I'm not even sure if he has it up. I forget if he swapped it in or not. I do outspeed. So Raikin will go down here, and then Tyrannak is just waiting to die. Now, the safe play at this point would be to strangle the Tyrannak next turn. Just in case the Dublin always kills, so it's fine to just Matter Teleport and Fire NATO in this situation. I'm pretty sure Fire NATO kills anyways. I was pretty sure it killed before the Marbles chip. Which maybe it went up, but it does now, so good game there. And yes, Aches, these teams are designed to be easy to play and perform well. They're just good teams to start with, so that people can learn the game, and then once they learn, then they can start cooking up some fun stuff. Like, these teams aren't flawless by any means. They'll fall off at some point or another, surely. The spreads aren't fully optimized. I tried to get them pretty solid, but depending on your playstyle, your movesets, and just the current meta, they'll probably have to be adjusted at some point. And any balance changes that would happen to hit them in the future would leave an impact as well. But they'll work for now, they'll work for a little while, and that's kind of the point. I always dread when I come out with these types of teams. Hey, at least there's no Shawland Inky combo this time. There's no crazy good combos in these. It's just a lot of solid Temps together. I completely despised myself for making the team last patch with the Shawland Inky. Oh, the times I just got stuck against that exact team was awful. I've even run into the variation I put out as soon as squad sharing got wiped. I've faced that variation of team a few times now. It's not all that bad, but just another team that's running Tataru is kind of a pain. But yeah, I'm sure these teams will terrorize ladder for a little while, so forgive me. But I mean, I always value new players playing the game, and just handing off a team for players to play is probably the best way to do that. Because I know team building is where a lot of players struggle, and it's completely fair. And since all the teams from the past got wiped and the balance hit anyways, everyone kind of is looking for something to play, and having 3 options of teams for players to pick from, I think, is just good. Even though the bulky team here and then the other one I made before is pretty darn similar, I think it's just a Tataru of a difference. No, I got Gazuma on that variation too, so it's kind of like a hybrid almost. Yeah, that's kind of a mediocre seal. So many people use the team, and a whole new flock of gold players start queuing into you more regularly with them. It's cool to see, but tiring going against the same team for sure. I definitely understand. I mean, I always put my goofy codes in the descriptions so that maybe somebody will copy those, and a few people have at least given them a try, but most people don't stick with them. Like, it's not like I can go and recommend this team to somebody. So this is the team I've been experimenting with, and I don't like it. I like about 5 Tems, which is bad. Normally, it's like I try and get 7 Tems to feel good to play in a patch. Only having 5 sucks. Like that entire team almost needs Bun Bun to function. And while some people are like, "Man, it feels so bad to ban a Bun Bun," I'll let it through. And then I'll kind of win games. Other players are finally learning, like, oh wait, Bun Bun's actually a huge pain in the butt, so I gotta just ban the thing, and then it falls apart. Ran my Bun Bun is a favorite right now. Yeah, it's so fun to play. Had to play with Pup Voice, but it was getting too hard to get going. Yeah, for sure. Ragnit and physical Osakai. I mean, I did think about running a physical Osakai because Earthbreaker, but Ragnit is the partner. That's kind of interesting. I guess just because of Perfect Job. I feel like what Osakai really wants is a speed raising partner. Hijab wrenching. Oh, I didn't even think about wrenching. Alright, we finally got a match. Alright, give it another try. Dino Dude, he always comes up with some fun stuff. Got a Crystal Chromion. Okay. Got a couple options against Minotaur. My type weaknesses are electric and melee. I don't see any melees. So it's just the 2 electrics, and I think I'd choose Minotaur over Inky. Just because Inky's damage output is so much higher, and then it also has Quartz Dirt. Minotaur is relatively limited by only having Black Hole. Just talking about this stuff is why you're glad you're only gold. Glad you're stopping by a dino. Good luck, have fun. Yep, Chimerian's the ban because he wants to pick Minotaur. And I want to pick Turok, but he's got both Platamus and Lawali, so it's really tough. I could pick Volorend into the both of them. But that's not great. Platamus is kind of my best option to deal with both Lawali and Platamus, so I'm picking it now to hopefully scare him off of picking those so that I can threaten out his Minotaur with my Turok. I don't think I'll be able to pull it off, but never know. You playing a sweaty team, going cheating. I can't stop you. Yeah, it looks like he still wants to run it. It's also his only win, so it's almost like also baiting him into playing it. But if he really wanted to just counter Mashuk, he'd pick something like his Crystal Chromion. He picks the Minotaur. And Arachnite. Part of me wonders if this is the Digiprotection Arachnite, just to be a little different. Can't say for sure, though. Normally you pair Arachnite with a Sparks user. No, like it would be nice to bring in Nesla here and then just Water Blade and Wastewater. But there's a bug with Arachnite right now, so I can't do that. Minotaur going so fast it passively generates sparks. Is that what Ruminant does? Alright, Volphy goes down. What does Volphy counter? I'm gonna ban the Lawali. I kind of actually wanted to ban the Crystal Chromium, but because he's cooking, I'll let him play it. Nestle's really good in this matchup. Its biggest issue is Plotamus, but we have Volarin that we can bring for that. Minotaur has 2 traits. No. I don't know why they forgot about Ruminants. Like, they tried to rework it, and then it still failed so bad. I don't know why they don't just make it heal instead of give stamina, but that's a topic for not today. I'm trying to keep the stream mainly focused on like analysis and how to actually play this team. I'm gonna bring the Tolkien just because it'll be better into the Crystal Chromion, and also having Tornado to threaten Plotamus is nice. And then also having 3 counters to Sandby felt bad. It would have only really been good against Rolder, which I don't think Rolder's much of a threat anyways. I mean, I've played a lot of Rolder, and I can definitely be wrong about that, but I don't think in this case that Rolder is much of a threat. Now, he could swap into Plotamus, and then if he's got Water Cannon on his Arachnid, he could get Synergy Water Cannon on my Turok, and that would be really bad. That would be really bad. I don't, like, Arachnid is always like, whoop, surprise! I don't know what moves this got. The fact that he picked it into the Mashuk, though. And so I want to say it's just going to click Harmful Microwaves. We're going to click Wastewater and Soil Steam. He stays in. Taser? It is Taser. That was probably revealed and I just didn't pay attention. So I'll definitely appreciate having the extra damage from clicking Wastewater here. And hopefully this takes down the Minotaur. Because I don't care if Turok goes down afterwards, I just want this thing gone. No! 1 health! Right, he goes for the Overclock. It is Digiprotection, though. Because it did not proc Adaptive when it clicked Overclock. So that's good information. He's more than likely to click Cozy Net here, which isn't good for me. He'll probably Cozy Net and then swap to Plotamus. I'm not really sure. Cozy Net, which slot? The Turok. Oh, I get it. Now he's just going to Black Hole the Mashuk. Duh. He'll actually wipe my speed buffs. No, he won't. No, because it doesn't have synergy. This will do a lot of damage that I did not want to take. But Turok's now fast enough that it can outspeed Plotamus, so that's valuable. I can't swap Turok as much as I'd like to. I'm not sure how much speed's in this Arachnite, but if he stays in with Minotaur, he could get Synergy Microwaves and potentially outspeed Mashuk. He's only +2, I'm +3, Arachnite's a slow Tem. Ooh, I think I take that. Yeah, so it's going to be a trade in the end of pretty much just Arachnite. No! That is a max speed Arachnite. a max speed Arachnite. Alright, getting the holds off Nestle is really good here. That's what I want, so I'm bringing it in for that reason specifically. I know he's +2, but +2 with synergy outs. That's still... It's at least significant speed invest, if not max. Now his best play here would be to swap out Minotaur for Rolder and then Plotimus. Or no, Minotaur for Plotimus and Arachnite for Rolder. How fast is the Shook? Almost base. So I'm curious now. Base speed Arachnite is 130. Okay, you know what? You're right. It doesn't have to be that fast to outspeed. Alright, the Minotaur does swap. What's the swap for, though? There's the Rolder. Arachnite swaps out for Plotimus. Alright. I did Thunderstrike the Plotimus, so he was hoping I doubled in on the Minotaur slot for both hits, which I did not. Because of the turbo I got earlier, Turok can definitely outspeed the Plotimus with a turbine here. I'm going to Aquatic the Rolder because I want to make sure it dies to... I'm not worried about speed right now, but I want to make sure the Rolder dies to the Rockfall next turn, and I think that's my best chance of getting that to happen. So 19.6 is what the Rolder needs to be below for my next Rockfall to kill. He could sack Minotaur here and save Plotimus, and then bring it in next turn. He sacks some health on Chromion. That's a little weird. Because I can still outspeed and then kill Chromion with a Rockfall. Yep, so Rolder is going to die. Stoneball chip on Nestle doesn't matter in the slightest. I guess Nestle's got such a great type against his team, so it does matter. I'm actually just going to rest on Nestle because I know that Rockfall outspeeds and kills both. Only thing he could do is swap out Rolder for Minotaur to get Synergy Microwaves and outspeed and deal some damage to something. But it's not enough to kill either one of them. It may have been enough for Turok if he used Drill Impact on it last turn. Maybe, but that's still asking a lot. Yeah, getting a turbo off on Turok is very valuable here. It's really what's turned the game in my favor, because it just outspeeds everything. And now, after this turn, I'll also have Turbine back up to deal with Plotimus. So he does bring in Minotaur. Saves the Rolder, but the Rolder will never get... Oh, he goes for Deluge. I sort of forgot that was a thing entirely. That one was on me. I forgot that Chromion gets Deluge. I deserve the punishment there. I should have attacked with Nestle. I was just hoping I could keep it around on the board longer. Now Turok's still doing alright because it can kill Rolder, Plotimus, Chromion. Arachnite's the only bigger issue for it. I'm just going to keep it around, though. I'm going to throw in Tolkien here just to get Turok off the board for the moment. He does get Rusher, which I didn't... Oh, and he's got Hologram. That was a good play by him. Should have gone... I almost went for Electric Storm, but decided against it. Chromion's defensive options are gone. Best thing he can do is swap in Plotamus, but there is a chance the Plotamus just dies at this point. He could double into the Tolkien, but then Nesla kills Minotaur, and then that's okay. Swaps into Rolder. I still think Rolder dies to this, even though it's resisted. Burn Tick, oh, and Marbles, it definitely dies. Oh no, he swapped it in for Synergy Paizo. Okay. Well, Minnow still goes down, so I'll take it. Slowly but surely making progress. Now the question is, was he hiding something on Arachnite? Gonna Aquatic and Rockfall. He may be able to live on the Arachnite. I'm not sure how many offensive TVs it has. The reason I kept Volerand alive over Tolkien, because I figured something would die, is because Volerand has higher special defense, and I figured the late game would end up being versus Arachnite, but for also Chromion for whatever it's worth. Okay, I don't think this ever kills from Nesla. With any luck, he'll just kill Nesla here. Knockback, okay. Is that on Turok? No, it's on Nesla, okay. Good, 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 good. Unfortunately, that's not enough recoil to take out the Arachnite. I have Venomous Claws. So even resisted, that should be able to take out Arachnite. I don't know if it'll be faster, though. I want to say that it will be, though. Because there was a speed arrow there. He's +2, and my Nesla was using Prio. So I believe this Arachnite is exactly 182 speed. Base Volerand is 185. Now, I'm actually just going to use Venomous Claws on this Chromion as well. Well, maybe not. I think I just use Feather Galling on the Plotamus. Just to make sure it goes down. I don't have to worry about shenanigans from Toxin Shower at all. I could have used Nox Bomb because that also would have killed Plotamus, and then it would have raised my special defense as well. Almost pulled off a crazy comeback. It would have been me throwing just from completely forgetting that Crystal Chromion gets Deluge, and then Minotaur gives it Deluge. But yeah, that would have been pretty crazy. Was net on Turok? Yeah, that would have also done it. I don't think the game was over if he used net on Turok. Maybe it would have been, because he would have been. I would have outsped him on Turok, and then he would have just doubled in, and I would have died. But GG. And maybe he didn't have net up. I thought he did, but I didn't remember. I thought he used net and then microwaves. Yeah, GG. For sure. I think both of us threw a little bit there. Love to see the Chrysochromion though. I know you've been running it for a little while now. It's just cool to see. One of the less represented Chromions. This Temtem? Yeah, for sure. There are 3 people who are actually good at the game, and they all retired. Yeah, it's sad to hear, but, you know, it's just kind of the direction things have been going. The teams have been performing alright, though. Getting a good variety of matches. Some faster paced ones, some slower ones. Haven't had a stall match. The teams probably don't do well into stall, because there's just limited scaling. I mean, we got sharpening, beef up, control options with Sandby, tireless scaling, and burn control. But even that can't be enough always. Got heat up on this one, refresh. And then just some high output damage. But still tough, yeah. Hoping to get 2 matches off, but if queues are too long, I might end up calling it after just one. I'm getting a bit tired here, but still want to have a good showcase. This will probably be a video that a lot of people will end up watching. Also, it's going to be one of my last Temtem videos for, possibly my last Temtem video for quite a while. But I'll touch on that a little bit at the end of the video. Hopefully I remember. You want to be good, just retire. Yeah, I mean, Temtem Swarm better be darn good. Am I quitting? Well, I just heard that if you retire, you get good at the game, so the only play is to retire. But no, like, I am just going to be putting my effort elsewhere, because I've said it quite a few times, I'm going to be working on developing a game, and that's going to take a lot of time investment. And it'll at least have some amount of return on it, unlike Temtem now is just for pure entertainment. And there's only so long I can do that. There was at least some trigger in my brain that's like, oh, during the Temp CS you can make money off this. I was never like, oh, I don't have a job because I just play Temp CS. No, it was never like that, but it's just kind of like, you can at least get rewarded for playing the game. But that's kind of gone. And just with the whole everything going downhill, it's just kind of a situation of like, I like Temtem, I love Temtem, but the question of if this game is going to be alive in a year is definitely there. I don't know if it's going to be, and when this game does die, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Like, I don't have another game that I've enjoyed nearly as much as Temtem. There's not another game that scratches that competitive itch that Temtem offers. What's my definition of dead? Every time I queue up, it's over 10-minute queues. Already reached that point. I Yeah, I think we're super close. I think next patch is going to be the nail in the coffin, unless there's some crazy stuff. But it is looking a bit grim. I mean, as long as there's like my biggest worry is that I know that like East is putting at least an effort out there to try and get players to play in the just play tournaments and stuff, and even having prize pools and such. But the fact that it's still like the 4 to 6 players that sign up are the only remaining ones on the ladder anyways is disappointing. We're not getting any new players in the game. So in that way, like the game is dying. Because if you're we still have a few new players. I know I do see you. And I know you guys usually come in here and chat too. I'm not going to name each and every one of you, but you're around. But even a lot of the new players get burnt out, usually after one patch or something. But I mean, long and short of it is that there's not a lot of people playing, and the game's only been going downhill, and I don't see it turning around. And I'm gonna need something to spend time with, and if I can, I figure if I make my own game, then I'll at least have control over it. Maybe things will be better. Hardest thing is a new players, so much going on, it's hard to learn. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you go, sweet, I'll do layers and Luma hunting. And then you do like 10 radars and 10 layers, and you're like, wait, this is slow, boring, and hardly worth my time to get a colored PNG in a game that's dying, and I can't even really show off what. And it's just all downhill. Can't find people to do a layer. Yeah, that too. I haven't done a layer in so long. What was I doing? Marbles. Yeah, I mean, the auction house has been pretty much dead, because everyone who's got Pansuns isn't spending them, really. You know, shiny Tukai? I know, yeah. It's not like I really look at somebody in the overworld with the Luma following them, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. Because I mean, I've got pretty much every Luma I really want. Like I'm struggling to figure out like what radar I want to I want to buy to grind a Luma for, because it's like I don't like Valyar's Luma, but I like the Tem. All right, we found a match. That queue was a bit long. This might be the last one because there is a little bit of stuff I just want to cover at the end. We got a rematch against Relaxed All Dead. We get to see 5 waters. Let's see, Electric Weak, Electric Immune, Electric Resist, Electric Weak, Electric Weak, Electric Weak, and then Neutral. That Chromion looks really nasty. I think I'm just going to take it out. It looks like the entire team almost is just revolving around the Chromion. Only thing that would impress you is mythical. I mean, didn't you see the guy that has 2 mythicals? That's impressive. Part of me wonders if there's some way to manipulate RNG, because I know that there's a like Chinese club that they have like 4 or 5 Luma Galioses. It's kind of crazy. It's just like it almost takes the specialty away from it when so many of them have them. All right, Chimerian goes down. That's fair. I resist all the water, and I can take down the electric. It would have. I think Chimerian's gotten first ban like all 3 games we played with this team. a bit sad. I wanted to have a well-rounded video that shows everything off, but it appears I can't. But I mean, Chimerian is, if your opponent doesn't have fires, it's very threatening. Kind of just click CPG. You don't overclick Frond Whip if you don't have to. And then click Sharpening it if you get the chance. But that's not, there's not always a good time to do it. Even with Sharpening, the speed boost isn't, when you have so little speed, sometimes feels bad. Alright, I'm not really sure what that play was. I do have Volarend available. I guess I could have gone Mashuk there, but I think that Volarend is... I guess I was just thinking of Adoro, but it's just kind of like, which one's the bigger problem, Adoro or these two? Gonna ban the Gazuma just because its defensive type is better. I can pick on Obi's weaknesses a little more. Gonna pick Nestle because I can resist waters and hit back with electric. Gonna pick Turok because it can take one water move. And then Sambi just because it's not a weak 2 water. The one was a Lumigallios or Tyrannoc, but after filling up boxes of them, you gave up. Oof. Yeah, I wanted a Volgon for a little while because that's the one I splash on a lot of teams, but it wasn't worth the grind. We're past the point where people are like, "Oh my gosh, you have a Luma Mythical? That's so cool." We're just not there anymore. See, I am okay with losing Volphy here, as long as it's not a max speed Babua that water cutting kills. It is. Dang it. Yes, I lived. See, that's why you invest bulk in Volphy. I guess. If I didn't live there, this game would have gotten a lot harder, a lot quicker. I would have had to send in Sandy. And then just kind of hope from there. I'm gonna go for a Plague on the Nestle. I don't think, I mean, I don't get it off, but I can try. I have one stage of special defense on Volarend, which is nice. So that this T-Strike won't hit as hard. And I can hopefully finish it off with a Venomous Claws next turn before I have to take another. Yes, that should be fine. Nestle and Turok will be good later. This is the best board the Sambi is going to get use out of. Why wouldn't you do the V-Claws and Nox Bomb in the other order? Because his T-Strike will always outspeed me. So if I did that, I would have to take 2 T-Strikes. Because I am a slow Volarend. And most Nestles run more speed than the one on this team. Almost every Nestle does. It's demoralizing coming up against the good guys. Yeah, it's kind of sad, but it's also fair. And I mean, when it's a lot of us, like veteran players, that are the ones left on ladder, and when you match into one of us, like once every other match, I can definitely see that just being really, really disappointing. Supposed to whirlwind. I don't know, the only difference that it wouldn't have made that much of a difference. Such a fast Baboa. And then you got a base speed Adoro. That's a little weird, but it's his choice. I could have maybe left Baboa there. Just because it was running out of stamina and it wouldn't have been able to do a whole lot more. No beta burst on the Adoro? Seems a little weird. Means Horn Platox. So that means that Platox probably just dies here. It's people in your times under gold 2s just trying to get, yeah, that's definitely rough. The ladder that you can see would be nice. You lose relax 3 times in a row, chance to win, but he's top 10 on ladder. Well, once, like Legend, it shows the number, but it doesn't show right away. Gotta wait until people place in Legend and then you can see. Bowlerin went down, which is fine. Adoro is 1. Adoro's 1 transient away from death, and then Platox has no way to hit Nessa because it has Shmeen's Horn, so it only has water moves. All the good players don't play ladder. Besides, like, Cooners and Drax playing again? I don't think I've seen him in forever. Did he change his name? Is that why I'm just confused? That was a very desperate Venomous Claws there. Just logs on for daily. Sorry, it must just be a time zone thing. GG. Now, as much as I'd like to play another game, I'm pretty burnt, so I am gonna call it here. Let's go somewhere fun to end off. We'll go to my house and appreciate the Pookie area. About the only overworld thing I've appreciated in the game. What are you doing? Inky, get out of here. Pookie. Umbra Pookie. Alright, so that was going to be the last match today, but I hope it was at least a good variety and to give you guys kind of a good reference of some teams to use this patch. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll try and do my best to answer. But that's all I got. But I do have a couple announcements I'm going to do at the end instead of the beginning because it's just... yeah, I mentioned it before this last match, but this is probably going to be my last Temtem stream for a while because I'm the next video you'll probably see will be on my be a YouTube exclusive video, not a stream. It's going to be explaining kind of like where I'm going with streaming. It's going to cover some very basics of like what I want to do with this game I'm planning on creating. And maybe just some other stuff, but that's going to be the main things. It's not like I'm going to quit Temtem entirely, so don't get too sad. It's just, it's probably going to go down to maybe 1 or 2 streams a month. It's really not going to be a lot. So I'm sorry to disappoint, and I appreciate all of you guys that have been watching my marathon of like 5 streams a week for the last however many months. But, you know, life happens, and just priorities change. And Temtem just isn't the game it used to be. So I hope you guys stick with me, but I understand everything, and yeah, that's kind of like all I got. So I'll detail it out more in that next video, so just be sure to check into that. And for now, just I hope I got enough resources out there for you to kind of get you through the patch at least. And I should hopefully be back in 1.7 for whatever Temtem Swarms got for us and whatever else as well, if not, and maybe some other stuff before then too. But, you know, for the people who only watch my resource videos, thank you. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you all so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.